matter what age, no matter how I look, there's beauty in each stage. I am a gift, and I promise every day, when I look in the mirror, I'll say, I am a gift. I am a gift, I've loved really well, and every year I've lived has a different tale to tell. I've made mistakes, have some regrets, but I promise I'll never forget. I am a gift. There may be times when I forget the truth about me, when it seems time marching on without me. That's when I might need you to find me and ever so gently remind me that I am a gift, a precious child. I'm put here on this earth, but only for a while. So I make this vow, and I say it with love. I am perfect and whole and enough, and I am a gift. I am a gift. I am. There may be times when I forget the truth about me, when it seems time and youth are just marching on without me. That's when I might need you to find me and ever so gently remind me that I am a gift, a precious child. I'm put here on this earth, but only for a while. I make this vow, and I say it with love. I am perfect and whole and enough, and I am a gift. I am a gift. I am a gift. I am a gift. I am a gift.
Good morning. Good morning to the sisters and good morning to everyone. So today is our final day.
Good morning, Sister Usha. Good morning, Sister Belinda.
Good morning, sisters. Good morning to everyone.
So we have this final topic, which is liberation, but it's not about being relieved of, but liberated in a sense of being empowered. So that's my starting point, sisters.
What is liberation for you, Sister Fatima?
Freedom. It's freedom. But I think we're not talking about freedom from a physical point or a political point. We're talking about freedom from a spiritual point. And to be liberated in that way is rich because the mind is free from the shackles of negativity, of not knowing who you are, of not knowing who your creator is, or the reason why you're here. So it's a different kind of freedom. It's a freedom of the spirit. And when the spirit is free, everything is free. So when I was thinking about this topic earlier, about liberation, because we have a history of liberation, of the liberation struggle in this country. I was laughing at the differences of what we look forward to as human beings, from being free from everything right now at this time. And yet, spiritually, it's a completely different understanding. To be free in that sense means that you have emerged your innate qualities of the soul. Every single virtue, every single power is in action. And as a result, you have moved away from life in the physical sense. You have adopted a spiritual lifestyle that is closely connected to the divine in that sense. And so that freedom cannot be chained by any physical law, cannot be chained by any physical relationship, because you've moved away from those relationships. You have created a relationship with the divine. Not saying that you are rejecting your family, your relationships with other people, but it's just that spiritually you have moved to a higher level of thinking, into a higher level or way of living. And in that sense, you leave all the negativity and the things that come with physical relationships down below. And that's my take on liberation.
Beautiful. Thank you. I was also remembering, it's funny the things that we remember, but I think when I was much younger, there was a lot of talk about woman's lib. And so women were really endeavoring to shake off the attitudes and perceptions that were very limiting for women. And so it's good sometimes to reflect on what my attitudes are that are limiting for me, because if I'm limited in any way, there's no ways I can experience that joy that comes with liberation. And as you were saying, Sister Fatima, spiritual liberation is so vastly different. And the impact of it on the inner being is so extraordinary, because it sets the soul free just to be who it truly is. And it's a strange thing to think that there are so many things that prevent us from actually experiencing who we truly are. And there are so many false beliefs, so many false attitudes and perceptions. And so our whole spiritual journey of this 21 days is allowing the light in, so that we can just simply liberate ourselves, let go, recognize first and then let go the chains that bind us to such a limited understanding of ourselves. And as we have done in past sessions, the liberation of the self it has an impact on our world, on our relationships, the people around us, but actually on every human being. Because when we are liberated, our energy, our vibration is completely different. It really is like an angel who walks lightly on this earth, who gives unconditionally and yet always remains full themselves.
Yeah. So, I was thinking about how, we can make liberation a subject in itself, like, how we have the liberation movement. But in spirituality, it is not a movement, it is an end product. And it's nice to see that the 20 steps that we took on are actually the stepping stones that allows us, because it goes like this: 21 steps in 21 days, the ancient Raja Yoga. And I think it's nice to understand that the Raja Yoga we're talking about is uniting with that king inside to actually come to that point of total empowerment. And so all the things that we spoke about were the steps that actually helps us come to this point when I can accept that I am not anymore a victim, but in fact the victor. And that shift in consciousness is what will actually change my life. So I could be still living in this world as exactly as it is, with all its issues, all its challenges, with all the relationships, the limitations, but I don't actually have to be part of it. In terms of, I don't have to indulge in what the world is offering to me. So this is the choice we make, that if we want to journey into that space where instead of becoming the victim, I can actually become the initiator of my own destiny, then I actually can do it. And it's a matter of that choice. And most of the time when it comes to spiritual practices and stuff, it always comes across that, you have to give up, you have to let go, you have to suffer a little bit before you can get anything. And that unfortunately becomes the feeling where people hesitate to go onto something like this because they feel they're not equipped. But the thing is that it is the ego that is actually creating the fear. It actually isn't, because we're not trying to get to another place. What we're actually getting to is removing the stuff that's separating me from my real self. And so it's just so it's such a catch-22 situation in a sense. But I think the step of courage that we need to have is not that we are trying to do something without capacity. Actually, courage is when it looks like you don't have capacity. So I want to tell you a quick story where there's these cherry trees in the garden, and a little snail starts to climb up a cherry tree. But as it's climbing up, can you imagine how slowly it's going up? And all the birds and everything are already flying around the other cherry trees and enjoying it. And they're looking at this little snail and saying, "Hey, brother, what are you trying to do? This tree doesn't have any cherries. Why all the effort to climb up all the way?" And so the snail just doesn't respond to anybody, and he continues walking. But in his mind, he says, "At the pace at which I'm going, by the time I reach the top, the cherries would be in full bloom." And this is actually the world. If we think about the things we've been talking about, so many people who can say, "Oh, these guys, they're just smoking their socks, they dreaming, they flying on clouds." They will not think that this is possible, because we've made happiness to be hard work. We've made it a sacrifice. And so what I really want to say to everyone here, this is not hard work. It's actually a choice. If you want to continue laboring and listening to other people, then that's really the choice you're making. But if you sat quietly with yourself, looked into the mirror of your heart, felt the pulse of your heartbeat, you would know that you are more. And if you can follow that, victory is yours. So liberation is not another endeavor. What it is, it's actually a gift when we make the choice to change our awareness of how we look at the world. Do we want to keep looking at the world from the information outside, or do we want to start looking at the world from the inside out, guided by the spotlight of divinity? So it's not hard, okay? I'm telling you seriously, it's not hard.
Isn't it amazing that finding yourself, your true self, is such a liberation? That to be who you are not is the labor, and just to realize that we've grown so accustomed to allowing ourselves to be influenced by others, and also the sort of social expectations of how we should be and what we should be. And that has really bound us. I'm just thinking the image that's coming is like all these chains. Some of them are big chains, some of them are small. And sometimes we look at these chains and we think, I'm so bound. How can I come out of this? But so beautiful to always remember that it is my choice. But that step of courage, where we have to sometimes risk that somebody may not be happy with us, we have to take that risk. But because, it's interesting that people actually don't want you to change, even though, they may complain about you, but at least when you are the way they expect you to be, they can sort of plan for that. But when you change, it's sometimes quite a challenge for others. And that also takes courage to allow yourself to be different despite what others may say or feel. And just to be liberated from the opinion of others and the opinion of society is a huge liberation.
The word change, as you were talking about change, one of the things that we forget is that change is inevitable. It will happen whether you want to change or not, because life will bring us challenges that makes us to sit back and think about change. And it's one of the things that I've learned over the years, that change is always happening around us. But as human beings, we sometimes fall into comfort zones, and then we don't want to accept that it is time to change. But change cannot always be painful. Sometimes change can happen and bring you joy. And when you step into something that informs you about how you can go about changing, and it resonates with you, you will take that opportunity with both hands, because you want to come out of enslavement. Let me put it that way, because you've been enslaved by stuff in life and you want to come out. And here is an opportunity, light at the end of the tunnel that says, if you can just listen to this, see if it resonates with you, and then take that decision. And at that point, change comes as a very big welcome to anyone who finds themselves in that situation. But going back to, okay, did you want to say something, Sister?
No, there's a question in the chat box, but you can continue.
Okay. So it's a choice, really, what I'm trying to say. It's a choice that we make for ourselves to change. And when you change, the change doesn't only remain with you, it influences everyone around you. And as you said, Sister Belinda, some other people will not feel comfortable that you've changed because you were in that same quicksand with them, and you've suddenly stepped out of it and left them there. But for other people who were watching you being in the quicksand and wishing that you could realize and do something about it, the moment you step out of the quicksand, everybody cheers for you. And that's what change does.
So the one question in the chat box is, what choice can you make when you must take a collective decision with others? And I think Sister Belinda sort of said it a little bit earlier that, what we're doing, it's not related to a physical thing. It's actually something we can change inside of ourselves. So even if you're in a collective and, there might be some lifestyle changes that we want to make. And I'll tell you of a story of a lady who was, her husband was completely against her meditating. So she found reflecting times when she was in the shower, when she was in the toilet, when she was cooking. You see, because spiritual endeavor is not about physical things. You can be in a crowd of people and they're doing all sorts of things, but the thoughts that you hold, and perhaps the example of Mandela is perhaps the most appropriate. Physically, he was in a square space that was completely controlled, but his mind lived outside of those bars. And so spirituality is like that. Do I make the choice to feed the information others are feeding me and just live by those, or be in the situation and give cooperation, because we can't find another world for us. We're all going to live in this world. There's no mountain, no cave we're going to run to, but we need to go into the cave of our own inner being. And that's something we can do no matter where we are. And so I think it's really powerful for us to first ask ourselves, what is it that I understand about who I am? And when Sister Fatima was speaking about change, there's two things, and I think I brought this up the other day when we were speaking about the Mayan calendar. The first rung of the calendar is to give up sloth, which is laziness, and the top of the seventh step is when we become totally self-empowered, and we are in our self-respect. So from moving from being lazy and not actually feeling that I want to do something to the point where I'm completely empowered, it comes from because I myself decided that I'm no longer going to be in this where other people determine what's happening to my life. And when I just make that one step to say, what can I do to change? And even though change is inevitable, what can direct the change is when I look inside of myself. Think about the time when you were driving somewhere and you were lost, and you become quiet and you say to yourself, do I go left or right? And so often you know where to go. So don't feel that you don't know. Use the power of your intuition to guide you, and the truth already lies inside of you. That's the faith you need to have.
Going back to the question, of course, you explained it very, very well. But also, if you're in a situation where you have other people and you have to take a decision in that manner, Sometimes if there is resistance to your suggestion, as you said, like the lady whose husband wasn't in favor of her meditating, when you change, when people see the change in you, that can influence them to want to change also, especially when we are in a group or in a family situation.
Yeah, and maybe just to add to that, Sister Fatima, in Raj Yoga, there are a number of different balances that we practice, and one of them is the balance of being the master and the child. And so when decisions have to be made collectively, the first step is to be the master and give your suggestions. And give your suggestions with enthusiasm and energy. But when the majority go with another idea, that is the time to be the child. So you just accept the decision of the collective and you let go. So it's a beautiful balance of using your ideas, your specialities, but then understanding the dynamics of collective decision. And there's always a time to then let go and cooperate with the final decision.
Cooperation, but not to be influenced, I would say. Not to go and be like others, but respect, but not lose your own integrity. It's important.
I think that's where Sister Belinda was also going in that direction, that you've made your decision, but if the others disagree with it, you stay with your self-respect. Well, sad, but we have to say goodbye.
Are you singing fast, Sister Fatima?
I'm sad.
So who's meditating today?
I think it's Sister Fatima's turn.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. So let's sit back and think about everything that you've shared this morning around liberation. Sitting quietly, I reflect. I reflect on my inner journey as a soul inside this body. The first freedom that I experienced was when I learned about my true identity, that I am a soul and that I am separate from this body. I, the soul, I am a point, a tiny point of light, a tiny point of divine light and might. Yet within me is a reservoir of goodness. And when I began to understand the goodness in me, and I realized that if I live my life according to these qualities in me, I will be free. Because every single quality that is innate is a power. It is a power that brings lightness and freedom to myself. And when I use these qualities by putting them into action in my daily life, I am spreading positive energy to all. My mind is free, knowing who I am, but most importantly, knowing who my Creator is, how my Creator is, where my Creator is. That enlightenment, combined with myself knowing who I am, has set me free. Knowing why I am here on this earth and what my role is sets me free, because I am not searching, I am not trying to experiment with anything that is unknown to me. Everything that I do now is known to me, and I'm doing it with that knowledge, with the understanding that every time when I practice, I am elevating my spiritual stage. And when my spiritual stage is elevated, I bring light to those around me, because my light has already been lit. My journey into liberation has not ended. It continues. But the happiness is that I know my destination, that I know why I am putting all this energy into becoming perfect. My aim is perfection and nothing else. Because when I reach that point, I will be able to give enthusiasm to others to see what it's like to be liberated in spirit, and that may also make them want to do the same. And if we can teach one by one, we'll be creating a world, a better world with better people and a better lifestyle. And so, as I leave this meeting this morning, I am taking the happiness of liberation spiritually, liberation in the mind, liberation in my heart, and liberation in my actions. And I'm wishing every single soul who has traveled these 21 days with us that they too have taken the enthusiasm that was contained in these 21 steps. And may you use them joyfully and happily to reach your perfection. Om Shanti.
Liberation, liberation. I am liberated when I am content with who I am. I am uninfluenced by the outcome of actions performed by others. I have the wisdom to be detached, carefree, fearless, free. So there's one, I see a comment in the chat box saying, where to from now? And the suggestion actually, or the thought that was coming through, is that for this group who's journeyed for the 21 days, we will create, there's a follow-up with the thought of having further sessions to just remind you of these steps and also create some kind of support structure for you to practice if you wish to. So you will all be invited. And then if you're not, well, you can't manage the follow-up, you can remove yourself from that group. But for those who want to continue, we will actually do that as well. So you will definitely hear from us, and we will have something to support you on this specific journey that we've just started. Om Shanti to everyone, and really beautiful that we had this time together. Sisters, I don't know if you want to say something in closing.
Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful experience for this 21 days. It's been very lovely to be with you, Sister Usha and Sister Fatima, and to explore in this way. And to the group, it's been very special to have you walk this journey with us and explore the depth of Raj Yoga. Thank you.
Okay, Om Shanti, take care. Please feel free to bring your voice into the room. You can say goodbye to all your colleagues as well, or part of fellow travelers on this path.
Sister
And thank you to
Usha,
Sister Danielle, who's been in the background, choosing all the lovely songs and keeping the space as well. So thank you to Sister Danielle as well. And thank you to Sister Yani, who has been the designer on all our little messages for the day. So, and thanks for God, who's the inspirer for everything in any case.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
sis-
to all
Thank
you sisters for the wonderful work, the inspiration, and the empowerment. And thank you to all the sisters and brothers.
Thank you, sisters, for the
Thank you,
beautiful and
Sister
blissful
Usha.
session.
Thank you, sisters.
Thank you for this wonderful experience, this journey of 21 days. It has been something that I used to wake up and look forward to this morning. Thank you, and having the chats with everyone on the group itself, and to all the sisters, and to everyone who's made this journey a fruitful experience. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, sisters. Thank you for using the new normal to enrich ourselves. You know, whoever thought that we would be able to sit and talk from all over the place, you know, while sitting at your home. Thank you so much. Thank you for your benevolent hearts, and thank you. Thank you. Learned a lot.
Thank you, sisters.
Well, I must say, if you guys were not at the other end, we couldn't quite do it. So thank you goes to each one of you as well.
Thank you, Sister Usha, Belinda, Ben, and Fatima. It's an absolute joy to be with you every morning. Om Shanti, and let's continue this wonderful journey together.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, all sisters. Om Shanti.
Kimira, it looks like I made out your voice. It was you, right?
Yamin, yes.
Okay, Kimira. Nice that you were connecting as well. Lovely.
Thank you, Sister Usha.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Om Shanti. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, sisters. Take care.
Thank you. Same to you. Take care.